Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how I made this red velvet corset top. And if you'd like to see how I made it, then keep watching. So the first things you're going to need are your velvet fabric or whatever fabric that you want to use, and then a lining of your choice, something that is a bit thinner than the velvet fabric. You'll need thread, boning, ribbon, and also I managed to get these hoops. So they're button hoops, but I've used them for the lace back of the corset. So the pattern that I'm using is by another YouTuber, and I'll put the link in the description so you can find the pattern. So I downloaded this pattern and it's been really helpful and shown me how to make this corset in a really simple way. So the first thing you want to do is lay your pattern pieces onto the fabric, and you have your fabric on a fold. So you'll cut 2 of the velvet, and then you'll cut 2 of each pattern onto the lining as well. Once I've cut out all my pieces, I've just laid them out so that you can see how they're sewn together. So the first pieces you're going to sew together are the cut pieces, and then you're going to sew these to the side front piece. So once you've sewn the cut pieces to the side front pattern piece, you're going to sew everything together. So you'll just join the side seams of each piece together. So I'm just pointing out how each piece is sewn together. So once you've sewn everything together, you've joined all the pattern pieces together for both the velvet and the lining, it's time to join the bodice pieces for the velvet and the lining together. So you're going to sew the velvet and the lining together by placing them right sides to right sides, and then you're going to pin the top seam of the fabric and then join them together that way. I usually like to start in the middle and then work my way outwards just to make sure everything's lined up. So once you've joined these pieces together, what I've done is measured each seam, and then this is where you're going to place the boning casing. So I'm just measuring each seam, and then I'm going to calculate them all up, and then basically I'm going to make the boning casing. Pieces of fabric, so I cut out 2 inches of the velvet. Basically, I'll turn the fabric inside out with a safety pin and then flip the fabric over. So basically, you're going to sew the casing onto each seam, so sew it on both sides, and then this is where the boning is going to be placed inside the corset. And you want to place the casing onto the side of the velvet, so make sure that you've placed it onto the velvet side and not the lining side. So now I've sewn all my casing, I'm now going to start putting the boning in so everything kind of looks more like a corset now. The next thing to do will be to place the boning inside the corset. I'm just doing a little video for Instagram, as you do. So now I'm placing the boning into each casing, and then you want to make sure that the boning doesn't go all the way down to the bottom because you're going to sew at the bottom hem of the corset. So I'm just measuring everything up and just making sure that it's a bit shorter than the casing. Now I'm just going to sew the bottom of the casing just to make sure that the boning doesn't fall out. So I'm just sewing each casing at the bottom. So now I'm using the button loops, and these will be used for the ribbon. So you can either use button loops, you can create your own holes in the corset. I found this button looping at my nearest fabric store. You can get it online as well, but I just thought it would be quite a good thing to use for the corset back. And then now is the bias. So you could either buy your own bias tape or make it yourself. I usually make it myself just because I can make sure that it matches perfectly with the fabric. So what I usually do is cut out a strip of about 1.5 inches, and then basically I'll measure up the length of the corset and then turn it right sides to right sides, sew them together. And then I'm going to turn it around over the other side and then sew the other side. So you can see me doing it here. That's all done. You've got your bias tape added to the bottom of the corset. So now I'm just going to add some small straps to the corset. This wasn't an additional, so it wasn't part of the pattern, but I've just cut out strips of about 4 inches. The fun part of the corset. So now is the placing the ribbon inside. So yeah, I've used the button looping, which would mean that there's more holes compared to if you were doing it yourself, but it still keeps it nice and secure. I added a matching skirt with a bit of a drape, so you'll see me doing it here. Watching my tutorial, and if you liked it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.